Fives.
Oh,
Just do it, bro.
okay. I'll just grab his head now.
Welcome back again. It's that time of the year again. For colder weathers and goth girls going to spirit Halloween, and you know I could drop a whole video on why I love spooky month. But one thing I like to see is how much Halloween is a staple in pop culture, especially when it comes to cartoons and how they will have Halloween episodes. I think it's one of the things that gets shown the most when it comes to holiday episodes. And you know what show that does it the best? Regular Show, with their Halloween special Terror Tales from the Park. And some of y'all might call this a Treehouse of Horror knockoff, but I think Regular Show does it better, honestly. And that's because The Simpsons have done so much in the 30 years of running. These Halloween episodes doesn't seem that different. As for Regular Show, you know what you're getting into, knowing these are just stories that the guys are telling, and it fits on how Regular Show is. And with 19 stories, which one are my favorite? And that's what I'm going to be figuring out in today. So sit back, go grab that 14-year-old Ghostface costume. It's time to tell spooky stories.
I can explain. Come quietly.
In this episode, Benson is throwing a Halloween party at the park, and one thing I love about these episodes is that the costumes that the cast put on, like look at Techno being Spike from Cowboy Bebop, it's really pleasing to see the references to other media that Regular Show does. But during the party, Benson shows that he bought a fortune teller to tell the future on things that they want but scary. And for my fifth favorite is titled Were Pops. This is where Pops wants to travel more and is shown to be in jury duty for a werewolf who ate someone, and before they give him 15 to life, Pops asks to use the bathroom and then is assaulted and turned into a werewolf himself and is framed for the whole crime. And what's funny is that the others know it's Pops and just let him get convicted. It's really hammering how these stories are just for fun. But before getting sent to the Diddy house, he escapes being chased by the mob, even getting shot by an RPG by Muscle Man. Not the first time we see something like that. But Pops ends up fleeing the country, heading to London, where he runs into the original werewolf on the plane as they fly to London to live life. The reason why I put this on the list is how stupid it feels. Like the writers were just spitballing, but I like the idea of it. And honestly, after the few specials, they kind of just start to lack a lot of substance, feeling shoulder on shoulder. Oh yeah, it's also a Werewolf in London parody.
It all started at the bowling alley on a dark and stormy night.
In this story, we start off with the gang driving to a party, and while being lost and bored, they tell some stories to pass the time. And here's where we start with my fourth pick. The story goes on one night, Mordecai's uncle Steve is in town, and he takes them to go bowling. And during the last game, Mordecai accidentally kills his uncle with the bowling ball return, seemingly crushing his head. While feeling the guilt of offering your family, Mordecai is haunted by his uncle Steve, even being chased around the house with some cool shots, but Steve chases them into the cemetery, you know, the best place to go when you're being chased by a dead family member. But no matter, it was a cop-out because Steve didn't want to hurt them, only wanted to give back the money he owed for Mordecai from the beginning of the episode. I know it might seem a little lackluster, hence why it's low, but the reason why I like this episode is how random it is. You think something is going to happen, even giving Steve a new design that looks more threatening. Maybe if they added something like Steve can't fully rest unless he finishes his unfinished business. I don't know, these are pretty much 5 minutes. What can you do? Also, the way how Mordecai offs his family was the most Regular Show thing they've done.
I'm gonna draw on your face.
For my number 3, I'm gonna go to season 3, the prime seasons of Regular Show, and it's hosting the very first Tales of the Park, and that pick is Creepy Doll, so let's get into it. In this episode, it starts off with Mordecai and Rigby helping Pops clear out his room and throw some stuff away, and while helping, they discover an old doll in the box. That's when Pops tells them that this is his childhood toy, Percy, and while Pops tries to convince them how cool Percy is, he shows them that he could talk, only being able to say one thing.
I'm gonna draw on your face.
But Mordecai and Rigby convinces him to get rid of the thing, but to their surprise, Pops didn't toss Percy away and has marks drawn on his face. They try again to get rid of it, only to find out that this doll won't go away and is alive and is a psycho who has the obsession to draw on faces. While chasing the doll into the basement, Percy knocks out Mordecai and Rigby and tries to get Pops to give him a marker. And this is where they have the last stand with Pops kicking the doll into the furnace, and that's how it ends, with showing the gang just chilling, telling stories with each other. Since it's being the first Telltales, it's kind of night and day with the others, with the later ones having a little build up to the stories, like the gang having a party or coming back from one. But we're at the last 2 entries. What do you think is the best Terror Tales? We'll find that out after this. now we're at the number 2. And for my number 2 spot, I'm heading to season 5. This is where a lot of things will still be fresh on the mind. Tom is still being a character and not getting retcon because the crew didn't know what to do with him. And this episode starts off with Benson doing park manager stuff, trying to stop some kids from egging houses. After that, we pan to the house where it's a Halloween party. And the amount of characters they put in these shots are a cool nod. But the gang are telling stories with the best one getting to keep a bunch of candy, and the loser has to wear the costume till Thanksgiving. So Rigby starts a story with him finally buying a bed because he doesn't sleep on a bed. He only sleeps on the trampoline. But later we find out Mordecai took both beds. Funny how they never addressed that again. But as Rigby sets up his new bed, the news informs her that a murderer named Johnny Allen Ranch may have became a bed from the company that Rigby got his. And as soon as he finds out the bed attacks Rigby, while fighting for his life, the bed pulls out an Allen Ranch and one-shots Mordecai and holding Rigby hostage. With some quick thinking, Benson talks to the bed, agreeing to give him a job and letting go of Rigby, and the bed joins the park crew and becoming one of the most influential characters in the show with hundreds, maybe thousands of quotes. Nah, I'm joking. The park crew catches him on his first day and murks him in broad daylight, ending the terror that is Johnny Allen Ranch. This one was pretty close to being first on the list, but with the short time, it didn't have enough time to lay out more stuff, and this one did become a fan favorite, especially how it ends, but nothing can beat number 1. For my number 1 on the best terror tale, I think we all knew it was going to be this one. Probably the most funniest and random of the terror series, and it being the few with a longer runtime with 10 minutes, and instead of the usual 5 minutes. But what is in the house? So the story starts with Mordecai and Rigby going trick-or-treating. Probably one of the first things we ever see in this whole series, with Mordecai having a good idea to dress up as a dad and having 5 fake kids to get the most candy, and Rigby going as a robber, scaring people and not getting any. But while complaining, Rigby convinces Mordecai to stop at one more house, and he picks the most rundown looking house there is, and is shocked from not getting any candy. So Rigby crashes out and eggs the house. And random tangent, but Rigby eats one of the cops so a cop won't think anything about it. Rigby is actually allergic to eggs. Little thing to call out, but after egging the dude's house, it turns out it was an evil wizard's house, and he lays a curse on Rigby. And the next day, Rigby is paranoid, seeing the wizard everywhere, and soon after he begins to grow into a house, where Mordecai runs, tries to find the wizard to apologize to hopefully revert the curse. So while everyone is figuring out what to do, the wizard calls to let them know he's not done yet, even choking out Benson through the phone. So they prepare with everyone being armed, and knowing that Muscle Man owns a shotgun, it's kind of funny to think. Too bad he's not really a good shot. Not only he just shoots everywhere, having the gang watching horror as Muscle Man gets dragged into the void by nothing and him endlessly shooting, and this body horror was crazy to see back, and look how they did Muscle Man. Next one to fall is High Five Ghost getting sucked into the phone and spit out. Skips does try to fight him but gets set on fire, which it shouldn't do anything with him being immortal, but it's for dramatics. Afterward, we see Benson getting flushed down the toilet and Pops getting thrown into the closet to disappear. With Mordecai being the last one left, he ends up getting his head chopped off. And with the loss of everyone, Rigby tells the wizard to finish it, only for him to egg him, teaching him a lesson. And we see the gang react to the story, because remember, this was all stories told by the gang. And Muscle Man not being impressed, and we ended off with a quick jump scare with the wizard. And that was my top 5 terror tale stories. And what can I say is that this was a staple for me watching regular show growing up. Heck, what can I say? I'm a stickler for Halloween themed episodes, and I feel like this was a cool thing, and it sucks we don't get too much stuff like this. I would love to see like Craig of the Creep take a crack at something like this, or even if HBO Max drops some more terror tales, would be crazy to watch. But that's gonna be it for the video, guys. Did you guys like terror tales, and do you celebrate Halloween? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And don't worry, y'all, more spooky month videos are coming soon. So till the next one, peace.
How about some scary stories?
I don't like this at all! The maniac was